Nero's hidden betrayal.
When you hear the name Emperor Nero, you probably think of madness, excess, and fire. He's the tyrant who supposedly fiddled while Rome burned, right? That's the story most people know. But the real story of his reign is even darker, more complicated, and much more sinister. This isn't just about a bad emperor. It's about a shocking betrayal that started within his own family. It's an ancient true crime tale that begins with a boy who was never meant to rule and ends with a monster. This is the real story of the man who killed his own mother and how his desperate need for power set off one of history's greatest disasters. The making of a monster.
To understand Nero, you first need to know about his mother, Agrippina the Younger. She was a direct descendant of Emperor Augustus and was known for her fierce ambition and cleverness. She saw her son Lucius as her way back to the heart of Roman power. Her plan began when she married her uncle, Emperor Claudius, starting the first and most important plot in Nero's life.
She persuaded Claudius to adopt her son, giving him the name Nero Claudius Caesar, and placing him ahead of Claudius's own son, Britannicus, as heir. According to the historian Tacitus, she was relentless. She arranged for her allies, including the philosopher Seneca, to become Nero's tutors, and worked her way into a position of nearly complete power. She even appeared on coins with her son, acting as a co-ruler in all but name, shaping his image while controlling things behind the scenes. In AD 54, Emperor Claudius died after eating mushrooms. We can't be completely sure, but ancient historians like Suetonius and Cassius Dio believed he was poisoned. This was likely the final step in Agrippina's plan. At just 16, Nero was declared emperor by the Praetorian Guard. He was a pawn his mother had placed on the throne, which was secured by treason and probably murder. The first betrayal had happened, but it was only the beginning. The first betrayal, blood ties. During the first years of Nero's rule, Agrippina was completely in control. She held the real power, but as Nero grew older, he began to resent her strict hold over him. Encouraged by his advisors, Seneca and Burrus, he started to resist her.
Agrippina made a fatal mistake. She threatened to support Britannicus, the rightful heir whom Nero had replaced. Was Nero just a paranoid boy caught in his mother's ambition, or was he already turning into a monster? The answer seemed to come in AD 55 at a palace banquet. During the meal, 13-year-old Britannicus suddenly collapsed and died. Nero said it was an epileptic seizure, but the timing was suspicious. Although the evidence is only circumstantial, ancient historians quickly blamed Nero for removing his first rival in a brutal and public way. But the worst betrayal was yet to happen. The fight for power between Nero and his mother turned into a dark psychological battle. By AD 59, Nero decided his mother had to die. What followed were a series of almost theatrical murder attempts. According to the historian Suetonius, Nero first tried poison, but legend says Agrippina had made herself immune by taking small amounts of antidotes over the years. Nero's next plan was even more complicated. He had a special pleasure boat built that could collapse and sink on command. He invited his mother to a festival, and as she sailed home that night, the trap was set. The heavy canopy above her couch fell, but it didn't kill her. Her attendant was mistaken for Agrippina and beaten to death. But Agrippina, who was a strong swimmer, managed to reach the shore. Ashamed and afraid of what his mother might do next, Nero stopped pretending. He sent soldiers to kill her. They found her in her bedroom, standing her ground. According to Tacitus, as the assassins drew their swords, she pointed to her stomach and shouted, "Strike me in the womb!" The same womb that had carried the son who now wanted her dead. They obeyed. Afterward, Nero reportedly looked at her body and coldly commented on her beauty. He had betrayed the woman who gave him everything, his life, his name, and his empire. By doing this, he broke his last tie to his family's legitimacy and any sense of right and wrong he may have had. Nero's betrayals show a darker side of Roman power that people often miss.
If you enjoy these deep dives into ancient true crime, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next story.
A reign of terror. After his mother's death, nothing held Nero's power in check. The period once shaped by Seneca and Burrus turned into a time of paranoia and personal desires. Nero soon focused on his wife, Claudia Octavia, who was Emperor Claudius's daughter and a reminder of the dynasty he was destroying. Their marriage was distant and political, and Nero became obsessed with another woman, Poppaea Sabina.
In AD 62, Nero divorced Octavia. He claimed it was because she couldn't have children, but the real reason was to make room for Poppaea. The Roman people loved Octavia and protested, but Nero reacted harshly. He accused her of adultery, sent her into exile on the island of Pandataria, and soon after, ordered her death. Ancient sources say she was tied up, her veins were cut, and she was suffocated in a steam bath. Her severed head was reportedly sent to Poppaea.
Nero got rid of anyone who opposed him, one after another. Even his former tutor, the famous philosopher Seneca, was forced to take his own life in AD 65 after being accused of joining a plot against Nero called the Pisonian Conspiracy. Betrayal had become Nero's usual way of ruling. He surrounded himself with flatterers and spent his time on the arts, performing as a singer and poet. The Roman elite thought this was a total disgrace. Nero was no longer just an emperor, he was a performer, and all of Rome had to watch. The Great Fire of Rome. In the hot summer of AD 64, disaster hit Rome. A fire started in the shops near the Circus Maximus. Because the city was full of wooden buildings and narrow streets, the flames spread quickly. The fire burned for 6 days, stopped for a short time, then started again and burned for 3 more days. When it was over, huge parts of Rome were left in ashes. So where was Nero during the fire? The story that he fiddled while Rome burned isn't true. The fiddle didn't exist yet. According to the historian Tacitus, Nero was at his villa in Antium when the fire began. He came back to Rome and helped with relief efforts, opening his gardens to the homeless and arranging food. Still, rumors about him started right away. The worst rumor was that Nero started the fire himself. Why would he do that? People said it was to clear space for his biggest project yet, a huge new palace called the Domus Aurea, or Golden House. Most modern historians doubt that Nero set the fire, since it was a disaster waiting to happen and even destroyed his own property. But he definitely took advantage of the situation. Building his fancy new palace on the city's ruins was seen as the height of arrogance and a betrayal of the Roman people for his own pride. The ultimate scapegoat. The public was furious, and the rumors about Nero kept spreading. To shift the blame, he needed someone else to take the fall. He chose a small, misunderstood religious group that people already distrusted: the Christians. This was the first big government-led persecution of Christians in Rome, and it was terrible. The historian Tacitus, who
didn't like Christians, described the events with disgust. He wrote that Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on them, not really for arson, but for their hatred of the human race. The punishments were meant to entertain the public. According to Tacitus, some Christians were covered in animal skins and torn apart by dogs. Others were crucified. In the most gruesome act, Nero supposedly used Christians as human torches to light his garden parties, riding his chariot among the crowds. It was a cruel way to shift blame, but Tacitus says the extreme brutality made people start to feel sorry for the victims, who seemed to be suffering for one man's cruelty.
The final betrayal and downfall. Nero had betrayed his family, his friends, and the people of Rome. In the end, the empire turned against him. His reckless spending had left the state broke. By AD 68, rebellions were starting in the provinces, led by governors who had finally had enough. The Senate, which had been afraid of Nero for more than 10 years, finally stood up to him. They declared him a public enemy and sentenced him to death. Suddenly, the man who ruled the world was left all alone. The Praetorian Guard deserted him, and his friends ran away. At just 30 years old, Nero ran away from Rome and hid in a villa. As his enemies got closer, he realized it was over. Even though he had ordered many deaths, he couldn't bring himself to end his own life. He hesitated and famously cried, "What an artist dies in me." Finally, as horsemen approached, he made his secretary, Epaphroditus, help him stab himself in the throat. Nero's death on June 9th, AD 68, ended the Julio-Claudian dynasty and started a bloody civil war called the Year of the Four Emperors. Nero's story is a powerful example of how absolute power can completely corrupt a person. His rule was based on betrayal, from the plot that made him emperor to the murders he committed to keep his throne. He betrayed his mother, his brother, his wives, and finally, the city of Rome. Was he born a monster? Or did his harsh world turn him into one? Historians still argue about that. But his legacy is one of fear and tyranny, a lasting warning about what happens when power goes up